Hello, Patricia here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States and specifically here in Alaska. And today we are going to look at the Daisy Garden background stamp. It is a single stamp that stamps this entire image. And what we're going to do is start a series today making these 6 cards, and actually probably more than this, because I really like this stamp set and I really like how easy it is and quick, and really when you get done it looks pretty awesome. So the first one we are going to start with is this one. Thank you card, but truthfully it could be anything. Whatever sentiment you wanted to put on there, and we are going to get started with it. Now, the thing I will say about this stamp set, because it is a background stamp set, I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think it's best if you have some kind of stamping platform, and I'm going to use the Stamparatus. And I have it set up in here, but I'm going to show you how to set it up. But the nice thing is that for most of these cards, once you have it set up, then you're good to go. So the supplies for this stamp set, or for this card, first you want a, whoops, I got the wrong set. Hold on, let me put that aside and pull this one through. Okay, so first you want a basic white 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it here in just a moment in the middle at 4 1/4. You also need a background layer, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Shaded spruce, this one, which is 4 1/8 by 2 5/8, and a basic white layer. This layer is going to be the one that has this inside image on it, and we'll look at that again in just a minute, but it's 2.5 by 4. And then we're going to have our banner layer, which is basically, you can go with 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. That's what this is, but truly it's a scrap piece of basic white that you can use. So let's start with setting up our image or our stamp. And so what we're going to do is, I like to put this in here. This is a rubber stamp. If you have a rubber stamp, you definitely need to take out, and I've already done that, but let me show you. In your Stamparatus, put these, you do not want these magnets to touch each other, and they're strong, as you can hear. I mean, like really strong. So put them far apart from each other, and when your Stamparatus comes, it's going to have, I have it upside down because of the name, but your Stamparatus will come with this foam mat. When you are using a red rubber stamp, you want to take that out of there. The rubber, I mean not the rubber, the platform piece. And we're going to put our background in here, and then I'm going to lay on top of that, and I kind of want to pay attention to where the image is going to fall on that piece. So, and I just moved it, but that's okay because it was already laid down. So I'm going to lay it, you know what, it's not okay. I want to move it down just a little bit. Notice I'm putting it in this two blocks in and 2 blocks up, so that when I do every subsequent card, it will always be in the right spot. And I'm going to move this down just a smidgen bit. I don't want necessarily all the stem parts. I want mostly the flower parts. So I'm going to lay it on there just like that. Make sure I have my paper straight where I want it. Then I'm going to take my magnets, and I can see where I'm going to have little bits of paper showing. So that's where I'm going to put my magnets. It doesn't really even have to be all that much. Then I'm going to pull over this, the platform part of it, and just sort of press on that to lift it up. So now every time I stamp it, it's going to stamp in exactly the same spot. The other thing with the Stamparatus that I want to do, where did my stamp case go? Here it is if you take your stamp case and put it under this, then not only can you see what stamp you've got, but as if it's going to not be the same every time. But then when I go to put my ink on here, then it's got support under there. So it's not going to be, if I didn't have that and I'm trying to, it's sort of got that clunky sound and it doesn't feel right. But if I've got that under there, I've got a firm foundation. So I'm going to open it, kind of like a cosmetic, and then I'm going to put my ink on here. So I'm putting good ink on. I don't have to press hard. I'm not doing chest compressions. You can see that I have a little bit of ink on the edge, which probably means I was pressing a little too hard. But I just want to make sure that I've got good ink coverage. Okay, once I have that, then I'm going to pull it over, and I want to give it some good pressure. As a matter of fact, you can even use that pad on top. I don't like that. You could, but I've seen people pull if they've got long sleeves on. It's summer now, so we usually don't have long sleeves, but I'm going to give it some good pressure. I've also seen people take like a knob or something and put fabric on it and then use that, or an eraser, like a whiteboard eraser. So, whoops. And lift it up, and I've got good coverage. One little spot right there in the very center, but see how I can just put it back down. It's still, I think I have a little bit of an error on my stamp set. I'm going to have to call Stampin' Up tomorrow, but it's pretty close. And truthfully, on this one, I can cover it with my sentiment. Okay. All right, looking pretty good. And notice I've done that 3 times now, and my image is still nice and crisp. So that's my first piece. The second thing I want to do is take my white piece. Now, what I want, this is, again, this is the one that's going to go in the center, and so it needs to somewhat be lined up on here. But I don't want to stamp on this again, because if I did that, I could, well, actually, here's what would happen. It would be darker around the outside edges, and it would have that border, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take this out, but what I'm going to do is lay this on the center of my stamp. Okay, it's got some ink on there, so I'm not going to be worried about that. I'm going to take this off because I don't want to mess it up. And then I'm going to take my base and roll it over like that, hoping that that stays. Yes, it is. But you'll notice, I'm going to turn that over, but I know where it needs to be now. I'm turning it over because it had a little bit of ink on there. Should have cleaned the ink off before I put that on there. No big deal. All paper has 2 sides. It's a new discovery. Did you know that? So now I'm going to put some ink back on here. I really only need to do mostly in the center. And now I'm going to come over again, give it some good firm pressure. Fingertips, you know, whatever works for you. And ta-da, there it is. Okay, so now once I've got this, I've got all my pieces stamped. I've still got ink around here. That's okay. I'm going to clean that out because what I did is I covered a piece with Oh, my words have escaped me. You know what I mean, plastic that you melt on that. Can't think of the word. Okay, so now the card, I want to close this, I don't want to get ink everywhere, is almost complete. So I'm going to take my card base. I am going to make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers because I don't want to ruin my card base. I am going to score the center of that. I folded it in half. Now, I will tell you this. I'm going to put this on here. But the first time I made the card, there is no second piece on here. It doesn't really matter. I liked this, but you could do this just as easily. So you understand what I mean? This is just my card base, and I stamped directly on it. This one, I stamped on a piece to put on the card base. The advantage to this is that if I mess it up, all I have to do is do it again. Of course, I could do the same with a card base, but then I have to redo, you know, I'm losing more paper. It's entirely up to you, whatever floats your boat, right? Okay, so I'm going to center this. Get it on there. Looks nice. Then I'm going to take my top piece and put it, see, that's where on the back of it. But that's the advantage to paper. It has both. It has two sides. And I'm going to put it on here. I want to line it up just as good as I can. There we go. Now I want to put this on here, but what I want to do with it is give it a little bit of lift. So I'm going to take my dimensionals and I'm going to put some on here. And you know, you do how many ever dimensionals works for you. That works for me. I don't want that center to sag. When it goes through the mail, things get pushed and compressed. It'll come back, but you'd still just as soon have it. Alright, then I want to line it up as good as I can with what's underneath. There we go, perfect. And now I need to do my sentiment. And I had done happy birthday. Happy birthday works for me again. I think that's exactly what I'll do. And I had already set up happy birthday in here, so I'm going to put my sentiment piece, and that actually looks pretty good. And I am going to use for that my polished pink. So open it up. Let me turn it around so you can see a little bit better. And I just moved my paper. That's okay. I'm going to ink it up. Hopefully that doesn't make that too... there we go. Whoops, let's line this up again as best we can, you know. It's a homemade card. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, just 99%. Okay, and I am going to put some... Oh, those don't want to lift, I'll tell you. There we go. And there we go. Let me make sure that will be, yep, there we go. So I'm going to put it in there, give it some pressure. Okay, I think I need to ink it up again. So the nice thing about the Stamparatus, ink it up, press it down again. Perfect! Look at that. Is that awesome or what? Okay, remember it doesn't have to be perfect. Just close. Alright, so now what I want to do is cut this because I don't want what do I don't want? Oh, I don't want all that space around it, but I forgot my paper trimmer. Hold on one sec, let me grab that. here we go. And I'm going to put this in here and trim it up a bit. There we go. I think I want a little bit more off the top. And trim that. And now I think I need a little bit more off the bottom. It's a process, don't you know? There we go. Perfect. I like it. All right. Now, what I can do is, if I want to have, so let me show you my sample card. Where did it go? Oh, it's right here. As my students would say, it's right in front of you, Patricia. Okay. So I've got a little bit of an end there. So I'm going to cut this end off straight-ish. All right. And this end, what I'm going to do is, I want it a little bit shorter than that. Okay. And then just cut into the middle and then corner to the middle and corner to the middle. There we go. Now, there we are. And put it on here. I do want to cover up that little boo-boo. So, right there. Now, I can again put this on dimensionals, or I can put it flat. And I think this time I had put it on dimensionals. I think this time I'll put it flat, because I put it flat on here, but I put this on dimensionals. And you don't really want to get too many layers of dimensionals. All right. And happy birthday. There we go. Okay, so that's one card down. We've only got 5 more to go, right? So we're going to do those here in a little bit and keep looking back every day or so. And I will have more cards posted using the Daisy Garden stamp set. By the way, this number is 155079. It is in the current catalog for 2021. If you live in the United States and do not already have a demonstrator, I would love it if you use this host code, as long as your order is less than or up to $149.99. If it's $150, you want that to be your own show, so that you can get the rewards for that. My website and Facebook information, etc., is right here. So if you want to take note of that, I would also appreciate a thumbs up. If you have not already subscribed, the red button, I would appreciate that. And then if you want to get notifications when I do post more cards or other things, then feel free to do that. The one thing I did forget on this one was to put some colored jewels. These are the new this season colored jewels. What I want is this. So where do I want? I think I'm going to use these polished pink ones. Those are just too cute. Where do I want it? One there. You sort of want to give it a little bit of a triangle look. And maybe one down here. And one more. Let's go for right. Whoops, got to turn it over so that the glue side is down. Right there. How's that? Gives it a little bit of bling. All right, thank you so much. Glad to have you. We'll see you next time, and all the best in your scrapping endeavors.